after the petitions were accepted and we knew it was going to go on the ballot, somebody called early that morning. It was a weekend and said on his webpage of Scott for Montrose, he had posted all 5,000 plus 5,400 and blah, blah, blah signatures and their addresses on his page.
Welcome, everyone. This is Nick Allen with Better Together. We are so excited today to welcome back to the show Phoebe Benzinger, the co-chair of Recall Scott Mijaris. Phoebe, welcome back to Better Together.
Hi, Nick. It's really nice to be back. Really, it's
Yeah,
good to see you again. Yeah.
good to see you too. I'm smiling ear to ear because this is exciting. So you all just finished up the recall election with a successful vote, earning 52% of the vote. So a nice solid margin there. How are you
Mhm.
feeling? How are you feeling on election night?
Oh, election day by 7 o'clock, I think we all were just a ball of nerves
Sure,
and
yes.
very, very hopeful, but knowing that nothing was a foregone conclusion.
Hmm.
And so once the polls closed, we were all together at a local establishment. And so, yeah, we just kind of stayed busy. And it was, again, a good time to be together. And then somebody who was watching it actually said something, and the first numbers came in at that
Right.
point. It was about 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit after eight.
Mm,
And that margin was still the same. I mean, and I have worked on enough campaigns and watched elections that those kind of margins you really don't change much.
hmm
I mean,
hmm
they may get narrow, but
Right.
when one goes up, the other one goes up. And yeah, you talk about just so much relief and happiness and so happy for our community as a whole
Mhm.
because this was who it was for, and this is what we worked for. It was for all of us, all residents of Montrose County, and it was for democracy. This is a democratic process that we followed, and we got the outcome that we wanted to get. So yeah, it was a happy night for the
Yeah.
recall. Yeah.
No, it always is. I remember I had the pleasure of joining a watch party here in Mesa County, and I was talking to a friend of mine. It's just like there's so much relief at the party of just like, oh, okay, we just put in all this effort, but then also the anxiety of, well, how is it going to turn out?
Mhm.
And you're surrounded by people that put in so much effort. Tell me about the people that were there with you and or have been with you through this whole process. I mean, those volunteers and
Right.
community members are so important.
Well, they were critical for us. I mean, of course, they were everything for us. And they were there that night, and it started with a core group of people to see where the interest was and
Hmm.
how we could do it. And that grew to over 120 volunteers through the
That's amazing.
summer.
That's
And
amazing.
then even as we had turned in the petitions, and then we started out after we had our petition signatures verified and we knew that we had enough to put that on the ballot, then we started the next phase of the get out and vote.
Hmm.
And even when we started that phase, we kept accumulating more new volunteers. They just kept showing up. And it wasn't easy. It's not like, oh, yeah, let's just go canvass the neighborhood for fun. I mean, that's hard work. And they were in it and they enjoyed it and they were committed. And so that night of the watch party, and I got to tell you too that we came into Tuesday night hot. I mean, we came in strong.
Yeah.
Up until Tuesday, we were still making calls. We were still canvassing. We were doing everything over the weekend. We made hundreds of phone calls to people that had signed the petition that hadn't voted yet. As
Mm.
most people know, there's access to you can see who has turned in their ballots.
Hmm.
Just reminding them to please turn in their ballots because we also could follow how many ballots had been turned in, and we knew that we needed to get out the vote, and they needed to get their ballots in. So we were trying to cover everything we could. We doubled down on our radio ads because we had a
Okay.
budget that could follow that.
Yeah, you did a good amount of radio ads with some pretty prominent players. How did you
We
get some of
did.
these big voices involved? Did they approach you all? Did you all approach them?
Well, we had one of our volunteers as we're coming down and trying to think how else we could get out the vote message, that message out. One of our volunteers had the idea, one of the core volunteers, to do radio ads.
Hmm.
And we knew here in Montrose County that it would be effective
Hmm.
if we got some of our registered Republican voters to do those Montrose or those radio ads. So we had Don Coram, State Senator, Roger Rash, County Commissioner, John Harold, who owns Olathe Sweet Sweet Corn. They were three of the five, and there was no arm twisting at that point. We said, "Hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna put out some radio ads. Would you be interested in doing a 30-minute, 30-second spot?" If we helped write the script, they were all over it. Said, "Yep, yep, we'll be there." And then the last week on Thursday before the Tuesday election day, we brought Don Coram back in
Hmm.
and recorded a new one where he said, "Election day is this Tuesday. We need your vote." And so we replaced his somewhat generic one to a really more critical, like, "Now's the time to vote." And that went on two of our radio stations. And I think they were very, very powerful and effective as well. Yeah.
I would agree, from and with some of my experience, I've met Don, and just those who can the messenger is almost or maybe sometimes more important than the message itself. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a
Mm-hmm.
really smart move.
Mm-hmm.
Diving into a little bit more, I love campaigns. I love the kind of the nuts and bolts of it. So first off, like, how did you manage all these people wanting to get involved? Like 100 plus volunteers. Like, that's a lot of folks to kind of keep track of, keep engaged, aware of
Right.
events. Like, what was your process for that as a campaign?
Well, when we were soliciting or circulating our petitions, before we did that, and we could not do that until July 15th because Scott Mijaris had to be in office for 6 months before
Hmm.
we could start an official recall. So we had many volunteers and we divided them up into 10 teams, and each team had a captain. And so out of that, Linda and I would be very, and our social, and we had one person that's just in charge of emails and communication.
Hmm.
And we sent out masses of them. We would talk to team leaders and say, "Please have your team do this." So it was a very hierarchy of jobs, and
Hmm.
nobody was a team leader that wasn't willing to accept that. Most teams had at least 10 or more people on their team, and so that's how we did it. I mean, it started with us, and then our team and our communications, and then our team leaders, and then accessibility. They always had our emails and our phone numbers and everybody else's numbers, and our communication team was great at putting things out all the time. I
Right.
mean, if we were to go back into our mailbox, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. Yeah, it's cleanup time now. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, exactly. You could delete a few of those now.
yeah,
It's good.
right.
It's good. Well, I mean, that's just so important. And that's part of what Better Together strives to do is kind of educate folks on these type of processes. And I think you all handled it so well of just, two people cannot organize 150, but one person can keep 10 people pretty well
Hmm.
organized. And
Hmm.
just there's both the outside campaign of what you're messaging to the voters, but what are you messaging to your people and how
Right,
are you keeping them, engaged and involved is awesome.
right.
So one other thing you mentioned, and I think is so important on a campaign, is just it was joyous that you had people feeling good. How did you keep the joy? Because we're going to talk about some of the hardship, but how did you keep the joy?
Well, that's a very good question, and that's not an easy answer, and then it really is an easy answer. I think the personality of our volunteers was amazing. I met people, and I've been here a long time. I met people I have never met before. They were they were happy to be here. They were happy to be doing this. We didn't talk anybody into, hey, do you want to ruin your whole summer? I mean, it was,
Go knock on doors and
I
sit
know,
out the sun.
and sit out in front in the sunshine, and it's hot and you're going to be dehydrated and sunburned, but hey, what's not to love about that? And so the joy was a natural thing because the progress, you
Mm,
could see the progress we were making.
hmm.
And the bottom line is we were making it as a team. It wasn't one individual doing this. I mean, all of us were doing a very important part. And we all knew that our part, even the everybody that had a petition, that was so important. And boy, we really appreciated them. And then I don't think anybody as a team leader, nor Linda, myself, we didn't ask them to do anything that we weren't already all willing to do.
So
You know,
important.
we
That's so
actually
important.
sat out in the sun and we walked the streets and and so we were very cognizant of what we were asking them to do. And at the same time, so appreciative of what they did. So I would think they would say from the feedback that we got from them is they stayed energized and into this because of the feedback they got from our local community.
Hmm.
People that would sign the petition, they also wanted him to be recalled. I mean, and they would tell stories. Sometimes they would come looking for our petition circulators to sign that. And again, as part of our communication team, we had slots that we wanted people at the post office, at the library, at the rec center. Like this is, I mean, we gave them an opportunity to tell us what worked for them. Where would you like to go?
Hmm.
Could you work these 2 hours? Could you do this? Could you canvas here? Could you whatever? And I mean, so to give them an option of where they could go and then a definite place helped a whole lot. Yeah.
Well, make it as easy as possible on someone to volunteer is so
Mm-hmm.
important. You know, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's like I can collect 10 signatures of the people I work with. Great, I'll bring you a petition to your workplace,
Right.
and I can have the, notary come and do it right there. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
it takes just to get each little piece. And I think your mention of the metrics and seeing, collecting those signatures is really powerful when people see their work paying off.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, and let me also say our volunteers got extensive training. We
Hmm.
had a night of training our volunteers and stressing one big wrong move could really hurt this campaign or at least throw their whole petition of 50 signatures away.
Right.
Um, and we had a training one night, probably in June, I'm thinking, and that night, just for the training, we had 82 potential circulators show up at night to be trained. And Joy Montoya Bose was the head of our circulation, our petition trainers, all that. And she did an excellent job. They asked good questions. And we also stressed that the validity of that signature needed to be good
Hmm.
because it's like a 17% that get thrown out
Right.
of a petition. And as the petitions came in, and of course, we turned them all in one thwack. That's the way it goes. But we had access. We had people who had access to validate those signatures.
Hmm.
So we knew our rate of acceptance was around 10% as they were coming in. And the credit goes to the people who collected the signatures. They knew to watch them sign, to make sure their address was correct,
To
to
fill in all
print
the
it, to
boxes.
write it. I mean, but they took that job with all the seriousness that they possibly could. We
Hmm.
had one petition of 50 signatures that they all were accepted.
Cool.
That's almost unheard of.
Yeah,
Not,
right?
and it wasn't mine. Let's be clear. Mine was probably about 10%. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That deserves a prize, though.
Yeah.
Well, I think those are all great things to point out, and I wanted to bring up the tough side of these type of campaigns. Especially I think the emotional side. And one thing that emotionally upset me was when the former county commissioner, Scott
I love
Mijaris,
that, by the way. I love that you said that. Yeah. Go ahead.
um, put up all of the signatories and their addresses on his website. And I'll say, and this was his defense, is, oh, it's a legal document, it's open to the public. And whenever I hear that type of stuff, I remind that the Titanic had the legal amount of life boats on it. So just because it's there, it's also just not the right thing to do.
Right.
You tell me, what was that experience for the campaign like?
Oh, I tell you what, that was, I think, a Sunday morning that after the petitions were accepted and we knew it was going to go on the ballot, somebody called early that morning. It was a weekend and said on his webpage of Scott for Montrose, he had posted all 5,000 plus 5,400 and blah, blah, blah signatures and their addresses
Hmm.
on his page. And honestly, Nick, I thought I was going to throw up. And
Hmm.
at that point, the responsibility of what Linda and I had started really hit hard because it's like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And it's true. So, I got up on my computer and you think about it and you think like, oh, you're going to open it up and there's your name. Well, you did open it up and there was your name and there was your address. But then when you start scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling, and it clearly was kind of the who's who of Montrose. I mean,
Hmm.
I didn't even know some of those people. I didn't know that some of those people had chosen to sign the petition. So to me,
Hmm.
it was nice. But in reference to your question, um, we got some feedback. We got feedback from people who work in law enforcement who did not ever want their address out there.
Right.
Single mothers and single parents that did never wanted their address out there. And regardless of how it's public information, and it was, but as a county commissioner or any person in power like that, of a representative power like that, to put names and address of people and their constituents out there. And it was legal. I mean, we were calling the Secretary of State and Phil Weiser,
Hmm.
and when the one call I got about a law enforcement that had pretty up pretty high up in secretive law enforcement, I said, you just call the district attorney,
Hmm.
because he's put them in a bad place having his address out there. And he ended up taking the addresses down,
Right.
but he kept the names up.
Really.
And yeah, and that was, you know, that was one of those days that my phone and my email was just kind of blowing up. Like, did he really? Did
Hmm.
he really do that? And I say, he really did.
Right.
Yeah, he actually did. And I had no control over that, but he did that. Yeah.
I mean, in the inverse, when you think about it, he put on his website, here are the 5,000 plus people that don't think I should have this job. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, okay, I see it's a gross, monstrous intimidation tactic, first and
Totally.
foremost.
Yeah.
Secondarily, it's like, look at all these people. Like you said, you're like, wow, I didn't even know this person had honestly signed. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is serious.
Yeah.
So I think it's just so important that what you did as a leader too, of having your people's back and trying whatever you could to take it down or at least protect, you know,
Yeah.
your community. And
Yeah.
it's shameful when someone in that position doesn't do it and seeks out retribution.
Oh,
So
yeah.
let's talk positive though, because
Okay.
he's gone.
There's a lot of
So
positives. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's look at the future. What do you think is going to be like on the new Montrose Commission? Because I know there's still Sean Pond, who I would love if you're watching this, you can come on the show. I've tried to reach out to you before, but maybe this will work this way. But yeah, what do we got? We got Sue Hansen up. Who was the newly elected member now?
Well, she was what she was elected, but she was a demand successor.
Okay.
So we were this was 98% recall, but we
Hmm.
didn't want to open up that seat and just have the Republican Central Committee, which is what would be, put somebody else in there.
Right.
So we had to have a demand successor. And she also had to petition on to the ballot, but she only needed like 450 signatures. So she was able to petition on and get on and actually let it be known that anyone else could have petitioned on as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
Anybody could. That was open for whatever.
Right.
And so it turned out that she was the only one. And because she was a demand successor, she only needed one vote.
Hmm.
So, as democracy looks like, she was elected, so to speak, and her name is Kirsten Copeland. And what it's going to look like, again, this is one of those giddy moments for me. It's going to be so stabilizing.
Hmm.
She has no agenda at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
She's an ex park ranger for the state. She's on the sheriff posse. Her husband works with the police, is a former state patrol officer. She has kids, 4 kids. She's got a grandson. She checks all the boxes and she checked them early for us. And and let me not get into the thick of it so much, but we
Sure.
interviewed 5 possible demand successor candidates.
Hmm.
And there was a group of at least 30 of us, all diverse, equally Republican, unaffiliated, and Democrat. And she was the one that they felt like they could get behind. Personally speaking, I was like, oh, she's a female and she's unaffiliated. I mean, that makes our job harder.
Mm.
But if you get to know her, if you just sit down and talk to her for 2 minutes, she's amazing. And I think the stability that she's going to bring to the county, the BOCC, the Board of County Commissioners, is going to be palpable. I think we have a brand new courthouse opening, ribbon cutting on Monday, and all their offices will be there. The new boardroom will be there. We're going to have a board of county commissioners that actually can make some good decisions,
Hmm.
that can repair some of the fractured relationships, such as with our city, with Colorado Mesa University. And I mean, I think it's going to be nothing but healthy for our community.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. And listen. Like that's the biggest thing is like your number one job as a representative is to listen to your people, even if you don't agree with them, give
right.
them a voice to,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
to have. So
She's going to be good.
good.
She's going to be really good. I think it's going to be reflective of how stable it is quite quickly. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And just how much of of kind of an agent of chaos we've seen a bit out of Montrose. So
Right.
I mean, we're happy for it. I know you here in Mesa County, across the Western Slope, it was meaningful and it was bipartisan. Beyond, like it was just people led. You mentioned earlier the folks that did radio ads, former elected Republicans. Like it was blatant how this was not working for the people of
Yeah,
Montrose.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I just want to thank you again for taking on such a monumental task and. What do you have in mind for the future right now? Anything that you want
Like,
to make us aware of? You're going to take a long,
yeah.
several week nap, hopefully, or
No, I'd like to clean out my closet. How's that?
I think that's a great start. I
You
think that's
know,
a
I
great start.
just it's nice to step back away from the well, actually the immediate. I'm looking forward to her being sworn in.
Yes.
I'm looking for Kirsten to get the seat at the table, and then Quite honestly, I think I can speak for Linda and myself. Our job is done.
Hmm.
I don't have an agenda. I don't have any issues that I hope she votes this way or that way. I just want her to come prepared and listen and
Yes.
vote accordingly.
Right.
And that's all that we as Montrose County residents really want.
Hmm.
Just listen to us and represent all of us.
Hmm.
And she's going to do that, and they are going to be able to do that. And I know that she's willing to work with Sean Pond. I mean, I know she is. I hope that he's willing to work with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great message.
Yeah.
Phoebe, thank you again for coming on Better Together. It was a pleasure to kind of talk to you before. I'm feeling goosebumps because I'm just
Yeah.
so happy for you all down there, and you're welcome on anytime
Well, I
here.
tell you what, Nick, thanks for having us on. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you were watching from afar, because there are a lot of times that it was just so capsulated within my house, within my head, within the meeting room, that it's nice to know we had a lot of support that permeated outside of Montrose. And yeah, it's gonna be great. We're back.
We're
We're back
back.
and we're gonna be doing a good job. Yeah.
All right. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Phoebe. I'll let you go.
Okay.
One.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone. Well, that was Phoebe. Holy cow. Great stuff out of Montrose. And we just want to thank everyone for watching today on Better Together. And we'll run our end credits here, but want to make sure that you're out there, knowledgeable, starting your own campaigns for whatever it may be. But you can see with folks like Phoebe just how much effort goes into it, but how rewarding it is. And I can never uplift that enough. So thank you all. Good luck out there, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Special thank you to our Patreon members. We are 100% community funded, and your support goes a long way. You can become a member at patreon.com/bettertogether, and we have several options and perks, so check it out.